Hey everybody, it's GauntletX and welcome back to some more Magic Arena. Today I'll be playing another quick draft of the Phyrexia all-will-be-one format. Without further ado, let's get into our pack 1. Not the strongest pack 1 ever, we basically just have two options here. We have the Venerated Rot Priest if I want to go towards a green toxic strategy. Haven't found those to be particularly powerful, and you do need to get a lot of very synergistic cards for them to come together. So I do try to avoid the toxic strategies generally. This is a pretty good reason to try to go in that direction. And then there's Furnace Punisher, which is just a powerful evasive threat for any red deck. Outside of that, in this pack, we have Justiciar being a fine 2-drop for white decks. 2-drop creatures are at a premium in the format, so that would be a fine pickup. But that's about it, and it's definitely weaker than Rot Priest or Punisher. But I'm just going to roll with Punisher here. I think it is a little bit stronger than Rot Priest, and it fits into a lot more decks. So we'll roll with that and see where things go from there. Well, I have no idea what happened here, but a bot passed me Urabrask Heretic Praetor, so we'll take Urabrask Heretic Praetor. Okay, I'm confused, but now I guess Arena just wanted to really reward me for first picking a red card by just giving me a red mythic when I don't think there's a single card in the set you should take over Urabrask, so maybe the bot glitched out and got really confused or something. But I guess I'll take the pick 2 Urabrask, and we're pretty much married to red now. Two very powerful options to follow up for pack 1 pick 3. We could take Barbed Batterfist as a premium 2-drop in red, and that'll keep our second color nice and open. Or we could just take Bladehold Warwhip, which is the strongest card in the pack. That would kind of glue us into the red-white equipment strategy though. So it's a lot less open. So Batterfist or Warwhip here. I mean, we're 100% playing red, and Batterfist is still pretty good, so I'll just take a Batterfist here and leave my second color open. But I think Warwhip would also be an incredibly good pick. I don't think anything else in the pack is worth taking over those, though. Pack 1 pick 4 has some pretty powerful options for blue-based artifact aggro decks. None of them play well with any kind of red deck, though, which we're definitely sticking to. I mean, we're kind of locked in holy matrimony with Urabrask here. We're like on our honeymoon trip to Hawaii and everything. Can't really stop us from playing red cards here with this Urabrask, so the Cephalopod Sentry and Eye of Malcator just can't really work with almost any red deck, so they can't really be on our radar, so we'll just take Hazardous Blast here. Pretty solid red card for ending games where the board is stalled, and it can also clear out some 1 toughness stuff, so plays pretty well in the format where there are kind of just a lot of random 1 toughness things. Take the Hazardous Blast, see what we get, pick 5. Here we are for pack 1, pick 5. We've got an Atraxas Skitterfang that I'm going to take here because it's nice and open, fits into any deck. Just a nice oiled up little insect that's going to lather up our creatures and let them glisten in the sunlight with plenty of powerful keyword abilities in any deck we play. So plays really well in the format, breaks you through some board stalls with that flying, or lets you win a race with that lifelink. Super flexible, powerful card for any deck. We'll take it here. There are other options like Indoctrination Attendant, Crawling Chorus, and Justiciar. Just a bunch of solid white aggro cards to push towards red-white. But if I can leave my second color open still, we will, and we'll take the Skitterfang. Pack 1, pick 6 is going to be a little awkward again. There are some good cards in here. Necrotitan and Testament Bearer are solid black cards, but the problem is that black is really focused on toxic strategies. You want to get a lot of poison on your opponent, and red has 0 poisonous cards, so red doesn't play super well there. Really ideally want to be like red-green or red-white as the best color pairs for red. That being said, I think red-blue is probably going to play a little better than red-black for us, so I'm kind of interested in Eye of Malcator for blue-red artifact aggro. Doesn't come together very often, but we already have an Atraxas Skitterfang and a Barbed Batterfist for some red artifacts. And Eye of Malcator can add to that strategy. If we're just going to keep seeing good blue cards, then we can probably jump into the blue-red deck and see if we can get it to work out well. Pack 1, pick 7 is a pretty easy Sawblade Scamp. It's just a nice 1-drop little aggressive creature for any red deck. Any deck is going to have some amount of non-creature spells, and as you cast them, you're making sure this can keep damaging your opponent after they get creatures to block the Scamp. So Sawblade Scamp's super fine. Cackler's also fine, but I find that the 3-drop slot is a lot more competitive. There's just tons of good stuff to do at 3 mana, so take the premium 1-drop over the 3-drop. Also Cultivator if we wanted to move to green as the next best card here, but Scamp and Cultivator are both pretty good, so we'll keep the on-color one. Pack 1, pick 8 shows us 3 different premium toxic cards in white and black. But again, we're not a Caustic main over here. In red, we can't really play any poisonous stuff and do too much work with it. Chorus and Shepherd, though, do play decently in red-white because you can have some stuff that cares about putting artifacts on the board. Both of these cards will do that with the Phyrexian Might. So these are more reasonable picks than the Blightbelly Rat, but still not super excited about either of them. And I think I'm just going to take Blazing Crescendo to, again, just stay in just red for now. Keep the second color open. Hopefully we just open some kind of decent rare in pack 2, and we can just move into whatever color that rare is in. So we'll go Blazing Crescendo here, and kind of let Jesus take the wheel in pack 2. Pack 1, pick 9 is pretty much all unplayable, so we'll just take a Terramorphic Expanse. Pack 1, pick 10 shows us a Free From Flesh, a fine red combat trick to take. There's also a fine green trick, a fine white card, but if they're all equally powerful, we'll stick to red for now. Now we have a Bladegraft Aspirant, fine filler card with Barb Batterfists in the deck. Bunch of blue stuff. We'll take a second Eye of Malcator if we do get to have that blue-red artifact deck really kind of pop off. Go Jayhawks. Pack 1, pick 13, Justiciar and Attendant. 2 very good cards for red-white equipment. Justiciar because you're playing equipment, buffing this up and winning the race with lifelink. And Attendant because you're picking up your equipment and recasting it to get another creature. That's kind of nuts. I don't even know which is better. They're both great. Kind of depends if we need more 2-drops or not, and we kind of do. We have 1 2-mana creature right now after pack 1. So I think we take Justiciar, and we want to be really open to pushing towards red-white. If these cards are going to be here, pick 13 as the 2 options. Pretty nasty for a potential red-white deck. And let's slap a Font of Progress into the sideboard, cross our fingers, and see what we open up. Well, we did open up an excellent rare in black. It's a 2-for-1 removal spell for 6 mana or more. We get to give -5/-5 or more to a creature and return 1 from our grave to the battlefield tapped. So pretty sweet black card if we want to push to red-black. Again, I did say red and black don't play together super well in this format, but the card is pretty powerful, and I also said I kind of wanted to be open to just pushing into whatever color our rare is in pack 2. That being said, this Annex Sentry, this uncommon, is pretty similar in power level to Black Sun's Twilight. It's not that much worse. Kind of does the same thing. Gives us a creature and a removal spell for only 3 mana. So it's faster, it shows up in more games, and it's really good in the red-white deck because it's also an artifact creature to go with our Mandible Justiciar. Not only that, but we saw pick 13 Justiciar and Indoctrination Attendant, showing us that white was wide open, at least the kind of cards that we would want in red-white. So in the interest of trying to win as many games as possible, I think we're supposed to take Annex Sentry here, wheel the Indoctrination Attendant, and push into the color pair that's more synergistic and plenty open by taking the Sentry. Black Sun's Twilight, super reasonable way to go. You could do that as well, push to red-black. We're going to push to a red-white artifact aggro. Going to go ahead and cut the blue cards out of this deck, and we have 2 very nice options here. Another Mandible Justiciar for a premium 2-drop creature, or a Volt Charge. We are going to take the Volt Charge here, though, as our second removal spell. Go with our Annex Sentry. Definitely got to take some removal highly. We have tons of creatures right now. Not a ton of non-creature stuff. Speaking of non-creature stuff, here's a Planar Disruption for another premium removal spell. Would love to wheel the Oxida Finisher or Onslaught as decent additions to this deck. We get a pack 2, pick 4 Mandible Justiciar for another premium 2-drop creature. Slam dunk into the deck. And now that we've seen that red-white is decently open, we're getting good removal in the color, we're getting good creatures, we kind of get to do the rest of the draft kind of on rails, just committed to our Boros strategy. Pack 2, pick 5 is a little difficult. Bardiche versus Slinger here. Bardiche is a much better card, but we can only really run 1 copy. We already have 1 5-mana card, we don't really want more than like 3. That being said, even though we could play a lot more 2-drops, Slinger's like one of the worst ones for the color pair. It is an artifact creature, but it's pretty dang filler compared to our other 2-drops like Justiciar and Batterfist. So I'm actually just going to take Bardiche here. I think it's a pretty good card at the top end of the curve in these 4 mirrored index. All the equipment synergies, of course. So slap it in there. And now we get a much better 2-drop for the deck, the Bard Batterfist, and we're super happy with what we picked last pack. Aspirant is also pretty good in the deck. We already have 1 though, and the 2 mana cards are more important. There's another Bard Batterfist, slam dunk. Auto include, get in the deck. Duelist Deep Faith would also be fine. Crescendo be okay, but pretty easy Batterfist. Pack 2, pick 8. We've got a pretty medium 3-drop, a medium combat trick, bad 4-drop. We'll just take a Furnace Strider here. Nice big hasting threat to try to close out some games. Pack 2, pick 9. Not a lot going on here. I really don't like Veil of Assimilation much, so we'll take a Fair Basilica. Don't love tap lands either, especially in decks this aggressive, because we are trying to spend all of our mana every turn where we can get punished for having a land come into play tapped, where we don't get to use it immediately. I'll still play like 2 tap lands maximum. I don't think I'm playing a second Basilica, but we're not dipping our toe into any other colors at this point. You can call me Thomas the Tank Engine because we are completely on rails from now on. Slam a Prophetic Prism to the side and Minor Misstep. See what we open up in pack 3. And rewarded pretty hard here by opening up the Steinpost Uncommon for our color pair. There was one earlier in the draft, but we passed up on it to stay open. So a little awkward we ended up in the color pair anyway, even though I stayed open for it. But do get paid off in the end, just get it anyways. Just get a second copy. So now we have a Bladehold Warwhip, the best 3-drop for this strategy. Makes all our Batterfists completely free to move around, which is pretty good in a deck with 3 copies of Batterfist. Pack 3, pick 2, we get another red mythic. I don't think this one's actually that powerful, but just for collection purposes and coolness, I'm probably going to take it here. The weird thing is, though, this other 4-drop, Chimney Rabble, is just stronger in limited most of the time, because you get to haste it out, immediately deal damage to your opponent, and get a nice little chump blocker at the same time, so it plays offense and defense. Swooping Lookout also probably more powerful in a deck with 3 Batterfists to put onto it. So these commons and uncommons are just better than Sulfime, but Sulfime's like cool. Then we get to have the new Praetor and the old Praetor, the Sulfime Mythic Rare Phyrexian Horror, and the Urabrask Praetor. Yeah, whatever. We're taking the next just red Mythic Rare that the bot decided. It's the same bot. It's the same bot. Whoever the bot is on our right needs to get their oil checked or something, because something's going wrong. Passing us mythics left and right. And a Kaya. What colors is that bot in? Kaya is 7 mana though, so Kaya hasn't been the most playable just because of how aggressive the format is. Kaya still likely wins you the game anytime you can actually resolve her. Just kind of hard to make it to 7 mana. For us, we can pretty easily take another efficient removal spell with Volt Charge. Now we have a Dune Mover, which is a fine 2-drop. It can guarantee our 3rd land as well. And that'd be fine. Basilica Shepherd would be fine as well, but we already have 3 really good 5 mana cards, so don't need more of that. Pack 3, pick 5, we have a Gold Warden's Helm competing with Furnace Punisher and Shrapnel Slinger. I now have 6 2-mana cards. I'll probably take Punisher over Helm here. I think the evasion's just pretty powerful, nice beefy body. First Axiom Engraver or First Indoctrination Attendant, both are pretty exceptional in here. We only have 1 4-mana card right now, and that is Hazardous Blast, or that is Sulfime. 1 4-mana creature right now, so I'd like to get another one of these. And Indoctrination Attendant is very good in this archetype. We can pick up any of our Batterfists or our Warwhip to replay against another creature. So love me an Attendant here. Take it over Engraver. That would be a solid filler though. Alright, now we can just get an Engraver anyway. Alright, join us. You can definitely join the party. Engraver is a fine card for getting you out of any mana flood late game, and it's pretty good at equipping some Barbed Batterfists as well, so it can actually attack and block pretty decently. I don't think I'll play a second Furnace Strider, but I also don't think I'm going to play a Churning Reservoir in this deck. This is pretty good in like red-green, where you have a ton of cards that care about that oil. We only have a few though, because we only have the red stuff. And at that, we still only have like a Sawblade Scamp, like 1 Furnace Strider, so I don't think either of these is getting played, but Strider's a little more likely. None of this is going to get played. I'll rare draft some complete garbage. Pack 3, pick 10, Sawblade Scamp versus Slinger. I'll take a second copy of Sawblade Scamp, have 2 1-mana cards here. Get very aggro. Now we'll rare draft an uncommon. Rare draft an uncommon. I do get a nice late Slinger also. If the bot on our left is in green, they're going to be really happy with the last pick Cultivator. And now a nice Phyrexian Atlas. Alright, so here's a look at the deck. I already cut 1 land, and then we still need to cut 5 more cards. We are currently sitting at 17 creatures and 5 equipment, which means basically 22 creatures. Like 15 to 17 is your average aggro deck creature count here, so we can probably just cut 5 creatures out of this deck. Any combination of creatures and or equipments. I'm actually a slightly bigger fan of just the Furnace Striders and Urabrask at the top end here, so all of our 5-drops are just beefy hasting creatures, so we could cut Bardiche here. And I do kind of want to cut out the 4th 5-mana card when I am cutting down to 16 lands here. So we probably drop the Bardiche. For other stuff, we do have a lot of 3s and 2s, so cut some of those, probably keep the Scamps in. What is our worst 3-mana stuff? 2 Furnace Punisher might be a little bit redundant. I don't think Aspirant's exceptional here. It's probably at least like tied with Punisher, so we can just go like a 1-1 split on them. 1 less power, but that ability does come in with those Batter Fists to move them around. For 0 mana, we can put them on the Aspirants, and we could play Batter Fists that we draw later for 1 mana, which is pretty good. Yeah, we'll go 1-1 on Aspirant Punisher. Definitely keep the Skitterfang, the Volt Charges, the War Whip. So we drop down to 2 mana now, where we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 creatures. I cut 4 of them, I'm down to only 4 2-mana creatures though. I don't think I want to go that low on 2-drops, but I do want to cut some of them. Least favorite one here, probably Shrapnel Slinger. Cut the Shrapnel Slinger, let's cut that in Bardiche. Guess I'll need to cut 2 more cards now. I do have 2 tap lands in here. Could be awkward with the 1-drops. We could use that slot to get our tap lands out of the way if we cut the Scamps. But I do really like just getting some haste damage in at the start of the game. And Scamp's pretty nice in this archetype because we still technically are going to have 17 creatures in here because of all the 4 Mirrodin equipment. But we also have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 non-creature spells, so a lot of ways to get oil on this, so it can keep getting damage in even after your opponent plays some blockers. So I still really like it here, and I think I want both. Maybe we do drop another 3-drop like a Punisher and one of the 5-drops like Strider, and just keep that curve really low. Do like that. That seems perfectly reasonable to me. Pretty decent looking deck. This has us still at 17 creatures. We have 13 creatures and 4 equipment. Yeah. Seems pretty fine to me. I think we'll call it a deck there. Well, here is a look at today's deck. Looks like a pretty ridiculous one here. I don't know what happened, but the bot to our right was just malfunctioning hardcore, passing an Urabrask pick 2, pack 1, Soulfeem, pack 3, pick 2. So they just really did not want to play red, I guess. And they wanted to just really annoy the YouTube commenters that are tired of me playing red. It's just the strongest color in this format, and the bots are literally passing me pick 2 Urabrasks, so I don't know what to tell you. That's where we're ending up here. Gonna be another powerful red-white aggro deck, primarily red. We actually only have a few white cards in here, so it's almost nearly mono red aggro. Triple Batter Fist to curve out on turn 2 with these 3 power creatures. The Sawblade Scamps play really well in this deck as well, hasting out on turn 1, constantly getting oil counters from casting all of our 4 Mirrodin equipment, and burn spells like Volt Charges. Great interaction, great removal with the double Volt Charge and the Planar Disruption. And again, those 2 big bombs, Soulfeem and Urabrask, going to do ridiculous stuff. Other than that, all the classic red-white equipment stuff we've played in all the other red-white equipment decks we've ended up drafting. Indoctrination Attendant to pick up the 4 Mirrodin equipment. Bladegraft Aspirant to make them cheaper and move them around a little more easily. The Premium War Whip, the Signpost Uncommon, the Premium Batter Fists on 2, and the Justiciars to get buffed up as we play equipment. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Definitely a strategy we've done before, but probably the strongest we've ever drafted it because of the double Mythic Rare here. but we'll see how it does as we head into the gameplay. Here we are in round 1 on the play. We will definitely keep this. Don't do anything till turn 3, but that's not as important on the play as on the draw. We can't really fall behind. We just might not be able to push our aggressive lead. I mean, we could still fall behind. If they go like turn 1 Chorus into turn 2 Slaughter Singer or something like that, that would be pretty scary. The 1-mana Toxic Creature into a 2-mana Toxic Creature. But we are pretty lucky here. We're just immediately going to draw into a 2-drop. And now we're starting the game on turn 2, which is very nice. Our opponent is on white with a Plains to start things off. White-black, so a nice toxic color pair, usually trying to get 3 poison counters on us to make all their corrupted cards more powerful. Dune Mover is the 2-drop. That is going to let them grab any basic land, put it on top of their library. If they have more lands in hand, sometimes they just don't want to use that ability, but looks like they do want to use it here. I'll offer the trade of the Rebel token for the Dune Mover. If they don't take it, we just drop a 2/2 double striker that they can't attack into. Slam in for 3, and drop the Bladehold War Whip. Indiana Jones is in the building. Dune Mover is coming on in. They could have a complete devotion, but we'll still trade if they have that, so it's not the worst thing ever. They'll draw a card and they'll both trade. Offer Immortality is actually not that bad either. We just trade our 2/2 Rebel into Offer Immortality, so it's still a 1-for-1 trade. That is pretty reasonable. Pretty fine with that overall. What do I want to do here turn 4? Do I want to guarantee a Soul Theme next turn by playing Dune Mover? That's interesting. Then we can trade Dune Movers on blocks. Yeah, I don't really want to Annex Sentry this thing, this 2/1 that badly. Or Volt Charge it. Yeah, pretty fine to go Dune Mover, put a mountain on top. That's cool with me. Send in for 3. And we might be trading 2/1s with Toxic. Our opponent has their 4th mana. They're going to play a Norn's Wellspring. Pretty slow card, so it hasn't played super well in the format because of how slow it is. Same with Tablet of Completion. But if they manage to survive for a while, these are both really nice card draw engines. So if I don't manage to push a nice aggressive start to this game, these can take over the game. It's just most games in this format do get pretty aggressive and end pretty quickly, where we can try to kill them before these cards start drawing anything. The tablet needs 5 oil counters on it to start doing so. The Wellspring needs multiple oil counters, needs to have some stuff. Needs to have some of their stuff dead. Killed. That's how to speak English, right? So keep pushing our kind of aggressive lead here to try to kill them before they draw too many cards off these artifacts. Then we're just going to play the Soul Theme post-combat. Big enough to block Dune Mover if they don't have a combat trick. If they do attack in, we're not going to block though, because while I could give this Indestructible for 4 life at instant speed, I don't really want to discard Annex Sentry and Volt Charge to give it Indestructible. If they try to kill it with a combat trick, that feels like a pretty bad deal, because the 2 cards in our hand are premium. That being said, if I draw any more lands, it might be interesting to try to just keep them, to discard to Soul Theme eventually. It'll be a little awkward though, because I do want a 6th land on board here. Because a 6th land would let me cast both of these spells, which is nice. So there's definitely some push and pull there, some back and forth. Some competing strategies there between holding lands for Soul Theme or playing lands. To play 2 spells in 1 turn. It's like the voice and inner voice thing. It's our Sith Lord Kermit in the back of our head telling us to hold the lands for Soul Theme. But it's probably going to be better to just play it. So I could play Sentry and Volt Charge this turn. right? Because I get to Volt Charge Enforcer because Soulfeme doubles the damage, makes it 6 damage. So we kill Enforcer, then I can Sentry away one of these rocks and keep hitting them. Yeah, I'm fairly certain we're supposed to play the Annex Sentry. Oh, I should have played this first and exiled the Wellspring. I was thinking about exiling the tablet, but I just realized by killing that Enforcer, the Wellspring is already active. They draw at least one card off that. Alright, that was a punt. Gave them an extra card draw there. I'll just go with my initial line of exiling the tablet at this point. Because if I target the Wellspring, they'll draw the card off of it, then I'll have 0 oil again. They need 2 more cards to die to draw another card off of it. So we'll just make sure that tablet can never get to the point where it's drawing a card every single turn. But yeah, the best play would have been Annex Sentry, Exile Wellspring, then Volt Charge the 4/4. Well, it would be a 2/4 at that point, but still. Volt Charge it, get out of the way so our 3/1 can attack. Alright, we're going to send in for 8. If they have a Whisper of the Dross for 1 black mana, they can send our Rebel into the Shadow Realm. But otherwise, we'll hit them for 8 and put them to 3 life. Probably dead next turn. Alright, and they are just going to scoop them up there, and that is going to be a victory for the Boros deck. Led by Soulfeme, the mythic rare that the bots decided to pass us. Here we are in game 2. Our opponent is on the play. We've got a pretty great hand here, Scamp into Batterfist. Little high on lands, which is a bit awkward. Other than that, though, I'm pretty into it. And we'll just keep it. Opponent is going to start things off with a Swamp. And luckily, no 1 mana play. We'll get things started with Sawblade Scamp. Hit them for 1 and pass the turn. Blue-black from our opponent. The mixed up basic lands to confuse me and cause intense psychic damage. Play the land first, so if something weird happens, we can combat trick to save Scamp if they try to give it -1/-1 or something. They play a Whisper of the Dross, we can Blazing Crescendo now. And then we'll play the Batterfist post-combat. If they don't play anything. They do not play anything, so here's Batterfist. This might get countered by the 2-mana counterspell, or shot by a Whisper of the Dross or something. A lot of instants they could have if they're thinking here, like they are. Nope, we're just going to pass to their turn. Probably just reading cards there. Eye of Malcator is the play. Luckily that never blocks, but it can hit us really hard if they keep playing artifacts. It'll attack as a 4/4 every turn in which they do. Pretty big fan of that card. It's really fun to draft around that and play with it. Do like it a lot. I think I'm just going to Crescendo to draw a card here. Stay aggressive. I'm going to play the untapped Mountain here so that I can hold up free from Flash against tricks, and then we start playing tap lands after that. Feels like what we're doing. Let's hit for a bunch of damage, see if I hit a creature to play next turn. I do hit a land. Well, we'll play that land then. That makes the land play even easier. They are down to 11. Already pretty much halved their life total. We have a Scamp that can deal an additional 2 damage to them without even having to attack. We have a Volt Charge for 3 damage to their face. That'll even put 2 more counters on the Scamp when we do that, which is nice. Skull Bomb's pretty good for our opponent here. That'll trigger the Eye of Malcator so they can attack for 4. And whenever they do sacrifice that, they get to kill our Rebel token permanently. That being said, they do have a tap land here, Terramorphic Expanse. So that is going to stop them from spending the 3 mana and bouncing our Rebel right now. Alright, so they're going to sacrifice the Terramorphic Expanse. And pass the turn. Skitterfang. I don't need any Skitterfang abilities in this combat, so I'm not going to spend the oil here. However, I do think I would rather play a creature and hold up Free from Flesh than just hold up Volt Charge, play a tap land. Yeah, we just attack in with everybody for now, holding up our tricks if something weird happens. And then we can just play the Skitterfang post-combat. Alright, another 4 damage it looks like. I could even Free from Flesh the Scamp just to get it really oiled up and hit them a little harder. Ooh, but Serum Snare, we can't stop that, and that is really good here. Kill our token, and now they can just Skull Bomb the Scamp instead to get rid of all its oil. Or Skull Bomb the Skitterfang to slow us down later. Yeah, that's pretty good. We can't do anything about that either. Okay, feels like mostly a bunch of bounce spell style tricks, so it may be better to actually play a tap land here. Not really worry about holding up Free from Flesh. If they were ever going to Whisper the Dross the Scamp, they would have done it a while ago, most likely. Yeah. Let's play the Expanse here, because I'm not going to sack Basilica for quite some time. So we'll just get a land out of our deck. Fifth land from our opponent, another Terramorphic Expanse. Grabs another swamp, so they have double black if they needed it. Gitaxian Raptor is the play. Nice, sturdy 1/4 blocker. They can use those oil counters to kind of swap around its power and toughness however they feel like. I could just give Skitterfang Death Touch. Then they try to trade with Raptor. If I +2/+2 the Skitterfang, they still win the trade. But if they use one counter, then I Volt Charge the Raptor and keep both my cards on board. Yeah, that feels good. We go Death Touch on Skitterfang here, so that I can keep attacking. And if they go for a block and remove a counter from Raptor, then we throw a Volt Charge at it to keep the Skitterfang on board, but get it out of the way. So no blocks, we'll just deal 2 damage here. Play our tap land, hold up both our spells. They're at 8 life, facing 2 damage from Scamp, potential 3 damage from Volt Charge, and that 3 damage from Volt Charge would add another 2 to the Scamp. So that is just really good stuff there. Raptor is coming in hot. We're not going to do anything about that. Even if they remove some counters, I'll just take my damage. That's fine. Pretty sure we can outrace them, especially if we hold up our 3 damage spell to shoot them in the face. Another land for our opponent. That is 6 mana for them now. They are going to bounce the Scamp to get rid of one of its oil counters. I can at least shoot one of them at their face here before that resolves. But it is going to lose out on an oil. Now a Voidwing Hybrid is the play. As soon as they proliferate, they get to bring that back from their graveyard to their hand. Kind of nasty. Probably want to try to use a Free from Flesh to kill that rather than a Volt Charge, so I can keep the Volt Charge to shoot their face still. Play our Scamp. Skitterfang already trades into Hybrid on board. So because I have enough mana, I might as well put the Batter Fist on it here. Trades either way. And then we go Lifelink this time with Skitterfang. And just Free from Flesh whatever gets blocked here. Still holding up Volt Charge. Isn't Volt Charge the literal name of a Pokemon attack? I'm pretty sure it is. That's some nonsense Pikachu does when it gets excited. There's definitely some kind of Volt something moves in Pokemon. I have to look that up in between games now, because I'm pretty sure that is. However, this card did come out in Scars of Mirrodin back in like 2011 or whenever, so it's been here for a while. Might not be just taking the name from Pokemon. Vivisurgeon's Insight is a pretty good card, but not excellent for them here because it doesn't affect the board. They're almost completely tapping out to draw some cards. Yeah, and then they just have a Thrumming Bird. Probably kill them next turn with Volt Charge. I guess not quite, because we can't get any of our creatures in against those two, but I can Volt Charge their face for 3, Scamp them for 1. They go down to 2 life. Yeah, let's cycle the Basilica here. See if we draw anything better. Hazardous Blast off the top would be lethal. I guess not quite, because I wouldn't have the mana to do... Oh my god, well that's nasty. I choose you, Pikachu. Use Volt Charge twice in 1 turn. That's super illegal. Pokemon is a turn-based strategy game. I'm not allowed to use 2 of these. That's cheating. But it is gonna win us the game. Volt Charge is so rude as well every time that you kill somebody with a Volt Charge, because the fact that it has Proliferate as part of the text means you have to fully resolve the Proliferate before the game will end. So there's times where you will Volt Charge somebody in the face and they'll be sitting there at 0 life, but they're still waiting for you to finish choosing your Proliferate targets. It's so nasty. It's so rude there. And there we go. Silver Tier 1. We are now 2-0 heading into Game 3. Here we are in Game 3. I am going to keep this hand. I have 2 different 2-mana cards to play no matter what, the Justiciar and the Barbed Batterfist, and I'm on the draw, which will help me draw lands a little bit quicker. And obviously if we make it to 5 mana, we're living the dream, but even just at like 3 mana, we've got good 2-drops into Volt Charge. At 4 mana, we have a Tendon on Batterfist. Got pretty great plays, even if we take a little while to hit our lands. And now I have 2 Barbed Batterfists. So that's 3 2-drops to play no matter what. And our opponent starts off with an island. Prophetic Prism is the first play, not a creature at all, so it's just going to sit there and fix their mana. I'm going to start off with Justiciar here, because I'm likely to just play a Batterfist the next 2 turns. So attacking with a 3-2 lifelinker instead of a 3-1 with no other abilities feels a little more powerful. There's a Justiciar of their own, probably offer the Justiciar trade here, but we'll get our extra point of damage in by playing the artifact first. And if the Justiciars don't trade, then we can just trade our Rebel token into theirs. So I feel it's pretty likely they block here, and they do. So we gain 3, they gain 2. A really funny interaction when 2 lifelinking creatures collide. We're like in the middle of combat and then both players' life totals go up. It's like, wait a second. That's not how combat's supposed to work. Cephalopod Sentry is pretty nasty. Free from Flesh if they block, and if they don't, we just play another Batterfist. Well, that works pretty well for us. We were not going to have another good answer to that for a while. So, not hitting our lands here, but we're still doing a pretty good job keeping the board state under control for now. That could change quickly, though. If our opponent hits like a 5th land, starts playing 5-drops while we're stuck on 2 mana, we could start having some big issues. But so far, managing to just trade up our cheaper cards into higher mana value stuff. Yeah, and getting a Mesmerizing Dose. Getting a Mesmerizing Dose put on one of our just 2-mana 2/2s is pretty good for us as well. Now I can go Scamp Batterfist or just play War Whip. I think I would rather go Scamp Batterfist here, actually. Spread out my threats rather than making one very clear target for a bounce spell or something. And this way I get to immediately start chipping in for some damage. Feeling pretty great now that we hit that third land, because now I can wait quite a while before I hit another land and still be happy. There's a Malcator's Watcher from our opponent. They are stuck on 4 mana, so they're not that much higher than us on the curve. We hit a Mandible Justiciar we can play. Watcher is a pretty great blocker here. I could move my Batterfist over to my tapped down Rebel token, because that's kind of just dead anyway. And then this Rebel token becomes a 2/2, which is big enough to attack into the Watcher. I could also just play a War Whip, but I could go Justiciar and attack with a 2/2 instead, which also feels good. I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to play a Justiciar and attack with a 2/2. So move the equipment over so that we have a 2/2 that can attack into the Watcher, and then play a Justiciar. Seems like a solid line to me, and it plays around the little blue counter spell. Yep, that worked phenomenally. Now the counter spell is spent on our Justiciar instead of our super bomb double strike equipment. Alright, we're going to get hit for 1 here. Nice Vigilant Malcator's Watcher over there. Like one of those Enclave drones from Fallout that's just chasing you and telling you about the New World Order. Veil of Assimilation. If they play some more artifacts, that can start hitting us pretty hard, giving their artifacts, well, giving one of their creatures +1/+1 vigilance every turn that they play an artifact. Alright, another Volt Charge. That's pretty fine. Escaped Experiment is going to make it so the War Whip isn't going to block super well, but it only shuts off one creature's power. So if they attack with Experiment, shut off the War Whip's power, we can still trade a Rebel into it, or even a Scamp into it. So I think War Whip here is fine. I don't think I need to Volt Charge this 2/1. So we probably attack with the 2/2, offer the trade, and then play War Whip. Scamp gets an oil counter, and we still have 2 blockers, so one of them can kill the Experiment if they attack with everybody. Pass the turn. Just the Malcator's Watcher chipping in. We're down to 21 now. Gotta love Mandible Justiciar. Still above our starting life total. Orthodoxy Enforcer is kinda spooky. Skitterfang's a pretty good draw. Keep sending the Double Striker into the sky now. I don't really need to send it into the sky. I could just give it Lifelink and then... Or I could just give it Death Touch. Actually, giving it Death Touch is stronger than putting it in the sky. So the choices are give it Death Touch, so it's impossible for our opponent to block it well, or give it Lifelink, so it's really hard for our opponent to race us. Because we're a little worried about taking 4 every turn from this. I don't think I'm worried enough yet. I'm just going to go for Death Touch now. Oh, I just realized I'm a doofus. I should have moved a Batterfist pre-combat here, because they're free to move. I could have a 3/1 Double Strike Death Toucher. That is better than a 2/2 Double Strike Death Toucher. Yeah, we should have moved a Batterfist pre-combat. They are still going to be free to move, so I'll just wait till next turn. Keep my stuff at 2 toughness in case my opponent plays like a Hazardous Blast off the Prism. 1 damage to everything. Destroys my Batterfisted creatures. Alright, Bardiche, that's fine. Alright, so this time we'll remember to do our pretty sick War Whip Batterfist combo and put the free equipment onto the 2/2. Gonna have a 3-power double striking Death Toucher. Gonna be super nasty. Take 6 here, so we need to be slightly worried about racing, but I don't think I'm worried enough yet to choose lifelink with Skitterfang. There's our 4th mana for Attendant. Could pick up one of the Batter Fists, because I only need to put one on somebody right now anyway. I think I'd rather just hold up a Volt Charge so I can kill this 4-3 and get another oil counter on Skitterfang. And Scamp. Yeah, Volt Charge seems pretty excellent. So we will hold that up. Might want to play it main phase 2 to play around more counter spells from our opponent. But then they can just move the Bardiche over. I think I just hold it up so I can kill whatever Bardiche ends up on. Alright, so we kill the 2-1, pass the turn. We definitely need to cast a Volt Charge before our next turn so that we can get the next oil counter on Skitterfang. They might move Bardiche onto the flyer, and then we kill the Malcator's Watcher. We let them draw a card by doing that, but then we just stop taking any damage in the sky. Send in both. Alright, well then we will try to Volt Charge the 4-3. Do it pre-combat to see if I want to make a chump block here, if they have some gigantic combat trick. Reject Imperfection. Just a counterspell? That is not that bad for me. We can just take 5. And then I can just cast another Volt Charge later. Yeah, that's not bad at all. We're fine. Okay, Fair Basilica. I could Volt Charge Watcher and start doing Skitterfang for flying instead. They have no other flyers. We're still at 14. We can chump with Scamp. We do extra damage with Scamp's ability. Yeah, that's... probably actually where it's at. We kill them pretty fast with that. That is 6 damage right now. We have Scamp for 2 more damage to put them down to 2. And if Skitterfang is still on the board next turn, Skitterfang can put anything into the sky to kill them. And yep, that is going to be game. We have glistened up and oiled up our juicy little creatures. And that was enough to win the game. So we are now 3-0 undefeated as we head into round 4. Here we are in game number 4. Kind of a weird hand here. It's very interactive, but if our opponent is on one of these quicker decks with a lot of 1 toughness stuff, this hand could be really good. We like Sentry, the only thing that wouldn't die to blast, and then we blast everything else. Nice late game Strider. Don't think it's worth a mulligan. It's not super fast and super proactive in terms of just like getting stuff on the board and trying to play the aggressive lead, but could be really good against the right deck. And it's got solid late game power either way. There's an Atmosphere Surgeon. That is 1 creature that'll die to Hazardous Blast. Hopefully they curve out with another creature, this one being one that doesn't die to blast, so I can exile that one. That moment when you just want your opponent to keep playing stuff on curve. Alright, well, exile Skitterfang with Sentry it is. Probably get some lifelink here if they want it, otherwise just save those oil counters for later. Be pretty happy to see them save the oil counters for later, because whenever the Sentry dies, they just get all the oil back. Alright, cool. So no value from the initial Skitterfang play, but if they kill the Sentry, then of course they can just get all 3 oil back. For now, we shut it off. If they attack into our 1-4, there's no way we're making any blocks here. We have to play around Free From Flesh style tricks. Get hit pretty hard by those. Gataxian Raptor, that is not going to die to Hazardous Blast, sadly. So Blast will currently just kill one creature. Still not the most exciting. We can play Batterfist and get our Terramorphic Expanse out of the way, which is fine. And then we just play Furnace Strider next turn. Curve out. Well, not really curve out, but play some big threats. Try to get the lead on the board state that way. Yeah, seems fine. Here's our Batterfist. Terramorphic. Could make Sentry a 2/3, but pretty cool with the 1/4 body, just make it as sturdy as possible. So it doesn't die to Volt Charge. It does die to Hex Gold Slash because it is a toxic creature, so that instant will deal 2 to any creature or 4 to a toxic creature, but Volt Charge is just 3, so I just keep the Batterfist off it. There's less things that can kill it. Fingers crossed, don't move Batterfist, don't move Batterfist, don't move Batterfist. Definitely Blast time if they don't move this Batterfist. Alright, send the Surgeon into the sky. Yeah, I'm pretty okay to play the Hazardous Blast over my Strider and just take the 2-for-1 while I can get it. Strider would also be reasonable. Now that I've drawn a really good 2-mana card, I could actually play Strider this turn, and next turn I can play Blast and Disruption. Feels strong. Feels pretty strong. This gets their counterspell out of the way as well if they have that. They do not. Send in the Strider. They could double block with Raptor and the 3/1, then we just kill Raptor, I guess. One-for-one trade. It is trading our card down a little bit, our 5-mana card down into their 3-mana card, but this Raptor is going to be really annoying at any time. It's always threatening to attack us for 4 at some point, which is pretty spooky. Yeah, they're going to go for the double block. Alright, we'll just kill the Raptor then. That's not bad. Oh, I guess we get to kill both, because they need to remove a counter. Well, that's actually just super fine then. I guess our Hazardous Blast is worse now, but we're doing okay. You Retrofitter to make the Batterfist a 4/4 now? That's not very cool. Take our 4 damage. So I can kill Surgeon with Hazardous Blast. Could Planar Disrupt the Batterfist if I need to. I guess we just we need to find a way to turn the board state into our favor with these 3 cards, which I suppose is Blast away the Surgeon, Disrupt the Batterfist, and then we're just attacking with these 2 every turn. +2/+2 off of Free from Flesh. I probably just attack both here before I try to Hazardous Blast at all. But if I have to Free from Flesh to save my 3/1 from their Surgeon, that's not going to be ideal. Because I kind of want to Free from Flesh to kill Retrofitter in combat, potentially. This is awkward. Don't want to have to disrupt the Batterfist, because I want to maybe kill a Retrofitter in combat. I guess I could just Free from Flesh the 2/2 token and trade into their Batterfist, and they just have a 2/3, I have a 1/4, and I get to keep Planar Disruption for something better. I'm not proactively like hitting them anymore after that. But it's probably better than dumping Planar Disruption, when I can keep this in case they draw something really scary. Yeah, it's going to turn into a top deck war here. I'm going to see who draws the better cards. Looks like... Volshock Splitter is actually really powerful right now. I hate to see that. Alright, well I was already gonna free from flesh trade here, so we will definitely do it now. Justiciar is a good first draw for us. I might even have to disrupt the splitter so that they just have a 2-2 and a 2-3, and I can block with Sentry all day long. And then we're 100% just both players are playing off the top. If I don't disrupt the splitter, what is their best play? They can put the splitter onto the retrofitter and have a 4-3. I'd have to double block to kill it, and then they could kill my Annex Sentry and get back their Skitterfang. Feels bad. What if I disrupt Retrofitter, though? If I disrupt Retrofitter, then they can only put the splitter on their 2-2, and I can trade Justiciar into it. But then again, if they hit any more just like 2-2s later, the splitter's going to keep juicing them up and being an issue. It's kind of awkward. I'm going to disrupt the splitter. And we're going to stare at each other now. Still would rather keep Sentry at 1-4 than put the Batter Fist on it. To play around the Volt Charge still. Alright. We're now both 100% playing off the top. We will see how things go. Who's got the heart of the cards? My deck has no pathetic cards. Kaiba? I don't even remember. I did not watch a ton of Yu-Gi-Oh! I just know that quote. I think it's like, yeah, Kaiba's talking crap about Yugi's grandpa's deck. Which is such a weird, kind of funny storyline. I wonder how many Magic the Gathering players have a deck that they got from their grandfather. There's gotta be at least some now. They'd be some very young players. Most likely. I don't know, some people start playing Magic when they're old. Maybe somebody started playing Magic when it first came out, and they were like 40 years old when it first came out. And they're a grandpa now. They gave a deck to their 13-year-old grandson or something. That could be a thing. What did they do? Chrome Prowler? Yeah, sure, that's fine. That's not a good start for us. Still don't put Batter Fist on. I just have to block block Prowler, take 2 every turn now. Well, Chrome Prowler into Batter Fist is a pretty solid start for our opponent. Now we can't block the Chrome Prowler without giving them back their Skitterfang. Volt Charge isn't exactly good, but it's a lot better than another land. Yeah, just trade into one of their cards again here. I guess at this point I need to stop playing around Volt Charge so I can actually threaten to kill this Rebel instead of just bounce off every turn. But watch, they'll hit the Volt Charge the exact turn I put Batter Fist on. It looks like they didn't. I think if they hit Volt Charge, they would have slam dunked that card by now, because that would put us to dead on board. Oh yeah, this is the issue here, but then we still bounce off Retrofitter, which is fine. Yeah, Batterfist just such a good card here. It just really manipulates their combat a lot. Another Volt Charge is fine. We block Retrofitter, kill the token. Or block the token, kill Retrofitter, depends on where they put the Batterfist. Surgical Bay from our opponent. The fact that I can't just unequip Batterfist is kind of rough here. Turn this into a 1/4 would kind of just stop their attacks. So even though they didn't get the removal to shoot the sentry for 3, I do still feel kind of punished for putting the Batterfist on this. It actually still would just be better as a 1/4. There's a Scamp. Do you know what's awkward here? I'm tempted to just kill my Scamp to make Sentry a 1/4 again, because if I don't, then Batterfist goes on Retrofitter and makes it a 3/2. And if Retrofitter is a 3/2, I'm never putting a Barb Batterfist on an Annex Sentry again. Never in my life am I putting Batterfist on Sentry again. This has played horribly here, because now I have to kill my Scamp to have a 1/4 blocker for their 3/2. Otherwise I'm just taking 2. Or taking 3, going to 2 life. Whatever. I'll just go to dead by a combat trick at this point. Malcator's Watcher. They could put the Fist on it if they wanted to just draw another card, but I have no flyers, so that seems like the wrong play. Batterfist on Sentry has been so awful here. Yep, and we also just lost the top deck war very handedly. Rough way to end that game. Batterfist on Sentry was pretty terrible. Pretty terrible. But we do lose that top deck war regardless. And we are now 3-1, heading into game number 5. Here we are in game 5, unkeepable hand here. We cannot rely on hitting a red source that fast. 3 mana guaranteed, nothing to do early game is pretty awkward. Don't think we can mull this down to 5. Get rid of one of our 4 mana cards here. Probably have to get rid of Soul Fiend because I don't know if I'm going to draw another red source. Super awkward. Might get bold and drop Attendant. This is really not where we want to be in an opener either, because we don't have any proactive creatures to play turn 1, turn 2, or turn 3. But I don't think we can justify a mull to 5 with this hand. I'm going to keep the Soul Fiend and just really hope we hit a red source, because the idea of just like Volt Charging our opponent for 6 is just hilarious. So I want to try, maybe, to do that. Never punished. Ooh, Sawblade Scamp is another card that works really well with Soulfeme, because that is non-combat damage with its tap ability. So if it's still on the board by the time we play Soulfeme, it'll be able to do 2 damage every time we tap it, instead of just 1. Furnace Punisher. Another Volt Charge. I'm pretty interested in doming my opponent for 12 at some point. Let's just play Soulfeme and hope they can't kill it. They need to be able to do 4 damage, so it has to be like Rebel Salvo. They cannot. They play a Serum Core Chimera. Is the oil ability, is that an activated ability? Remove 3 oil counters. Yes, it's an activated ability to do anything with this, so planar disrupting it feels super fine to me. And then I can attack with my 5/4 into the 3/3. Hit them for 5, and then Scamp is active to shoot them for 2. Could also play Annex Sentry, exile Punisher and attack with Soulfeme, let Chimera stay for a little bit. I'd rather go ahead and start doing Scamp damage as well, especially with Soulfeme on board. No! I don't want to discard any of these beautiful cards. I would like to attack with Soulfeme. Soulfeme's over here just trying to eat my Volt Charges away. It's not allowed. Our opponent's already dead to double Volt Charge, because I can tap Scamp and put them to 12, and then just cast 2 Volt Charges. Okay. Soulfeme might actually be a very real card. I might have undersold Soulfeme earlier when I was thinking about those uncommons potentially being better. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay, so Scamp with double Volt Charge up. My opponent tries to kill Soulfeme with a combat trick, we can Volt Charge the blocker. If they don't, we just Volt Charge the face and shoot for 1,000,000. We can hit them for 10 with Volt Charge double Scamp. They're going to return Soulfeme to our hand. I think I have a response to that, which is shoot them for 10, and then next turn untap with both my Scamps and shoot them for the final 2? Alright. Kill my Scamps or die, and even if you kill them, I Volt Charge your face? What the actual heck just happened? This is the craziest Soulfeme hand I think I've drawn so far. Good lord. If they have a counterspell, they could survive me recasting Volt Charge here. I guess I go for Soulfeme, then they counterspell Soulfeme, then I Volt Charge their face next turn to kill them. Yep. So either way, they counter whatever I try to play, and then I kill them with the other card next turn. Unless their hand is like entirely counterspells here. Drill a possibility, discard a card, draw 2. Probably trying to find some counters. Hope to stay alive. Play a mountain. They need to find removal for Scamp as well, because right now they're dead to me playing any non-creature. Alright, so Volt Charge the face. If it resolves, they die. If it doesn't resolve, I tap with Scamp. And it does resolve, so we are 4-1 now. Some big nasty stuff from Soulfeme as we head into round number 6. Alright, here we go, game 6 on the play. Turn 2, Batter Fist. Turn 3, 2 pieces of removal. Turn 4, Soulfeme with a potential Volt Charge in hand. Yep, Terramorphic for the red source. Turn 1. We have a game plan. Grab a mountain past the turn. Aw, don't show me the top card of my library. I hate it every time it does that. It's like you could have had another Batter Fist, but you shuffled it away. I hate you, Arena. You're so rude. Why do you always bully me like this? That is fine, though, because we did need to draw a 4th land, so... Maybe it's okay we shuffled away a Batter Fist. Yeah. Hitting the 4th land and then a 3-drop? So far, these are good draws. Actually slightly better than drawing a second Batter Fist. Do need to keep in mind we can move the Batter Fist to the Aspirant specifically for 0 mana. So if we want to attack with a 3-power Menace creature next turn, we can. Not moving it yet, that way they can't attack with Duelist unless they do something like Flensing Raptor. They do have the Flensing Raptor, so they do get the attack in. Do I want to send both in? The 3-1 trades into the Raptor either way already. I think I would rather have the Aspirants be getting more Menace damage in now. But I am going to attack with both and then drop Soulfeme. Which they'll need to have a white removal spell to kill because most red removal would be 3 damage to it or 2 damage to it. All the common removal spells can't kill Soulfeme in red. There is the uncommon though, the 5 damage uncommon could get rid of Soulfeme. Yeah, Soulfeme has to get hit by a white removal spell or an uncommon red removal spell for it to die, and if it doesn't die then our opponent does because we can Volt Charge them for 6. Which is likely to find lethal out of nowhere when they're already down to 12. Porcelain Zealot. That does make their attacks a lot more threatening. +2/+2 to a toxic creature each turn. Obviously have no blocks here. We just attack with everybody, try to kill them on the crackback. If they chump Soulfeme, they can live. If they don't, then they die. So actually we can just disrupt the Zealot, and now they can't chump and they're dead. It's a Volt Charge guaranteed. And we didn't even need the double Volt Charge here, just a single one would have worked. That might as well. Even if there's nothing to proliferate, it still stops and makes you and your opponent stare at each other while they're sitting at -4. Arena's such a rude program, it's insane. Alright, I think that's our 5th win. I think we're 5-1 now. Which means we should be moving into a game number 7. Very nice run so far from this honestly pretty insane deck. Here we are in game 7. We've got the Orange Flinger on turn 1, delivering delicious citrus fruits to our opponent's face. Then we have Justiciar. We have Bladehold Warwhip. That's a really good 1-2-3 curve, so that's just a definite keep here. Slam them down to 19. Terramorphic Expanse turn 1, so we don't have to worry about any 1-drops from our opponent. They are playing red. They grab a mountain. We now have a Dune Mover. I would much rather get Justiciar down because I'm not grabbing a land with Dune Mover. So it's a 2-mana 2-1 with no text in our deck right now. We are definitely not grabbing another land. Another Terramorphic from our opponent. Nice slow start from them. Should be able to put a lot of pressure on them having the 1-2-3 curve on the play here. Seems like they might have a Hex Gold Slash, some kind of 1-mana spell. Could be a Free from Flesh though, could be a little combat trick. Let's set in these two and see if anything happens to them first. Yes, alright. Very happy to have waited there. Because now the slash gets used on the non-double striking creature, the smaller creature. So if they don't have another removal spell, they're going to start getting hit really hard with this double striker. We also could have played Aspirant here. That would allow us to play the Warwhip and the Dune Mover next turn, but we'd be hitting for significantly less damage this turn if they don't have multiple cheap removal spells in the opening hand. So I like this a little better. Threatens a little more damage more quickly. Yep, so that we can kill this Jace. I guess I can't kill the Jace because they shut off the Warwhip. God dang it. I'm gonna have to teach you this lesson again, old man. Second Jace of the day. Okay, this does kind of suck. If I get a wide enough board state, I can still kill this thing. Can this shoot a planeswalker? No, each opponent. Hit them for one or hit Jace for one. Probably more valuable to just hit Jace for one and then play a menace creature. I mean, they're not really going to -2. -X is just 16 cards. We have 30 right now. Do make it easier to kill Jace in the future, though.
Predictable and uninteresting.
I think we have to kill Jace. Otherwise, it's just going to be so hard to be getting damage in. But yeah, next turn we have enough mana, we can just move War Whip to whatever isn't -3'd.
I will clear your...
Yeah, so they're giving up on Jace now, they're just drawing the card. But Jace was still a pretty good fog there, completely stopped our 4 damage creature from doing anything. Now I have a Volt Charge, so even if they like kill Scamp in response to me trying to kill Jace, we're good. They could have a Chrome Prowler here, that would be an issue. To try to kill the Scamp at instant speed, we just Volt Charge the Prowler if they have it though, so we're fine. Yeah, we go to combat. This at the face, this at the face, this at the Jace. If they Chrome Prowler to block Scamp and kill it, we shoot the Prowler. If they shoot Scamp with Volt Charge or something, then we shoot the Jace. Either way, we're golden. They're actually going to Volt Charge Aspirin. Okay, so they're just going to let Jace die. That's pretty cool. We still hit them for 4. Yeah, nothing, no reason to Volt Charge. Oh, they can Proliferate on Jace, I see. That is spicy. Well, I guess I'm going to Volt Charge Jace then. That's pretty good for them. We are completely playing off the top now. We've had to expend a lot of resources towards Jace, and they've drawn extra cards here off Jace as well. So we are just out of stuff, but they have 5 cards in hand, so they could very much recover here. Ooh, well, Vivisurgent's Insight means they have a massive amount of card advantage, but they're also going to be very low on life here, taking all this damage. Down to 4. Dead to another Volt Charge off the top. And they need to block absolutely everything every turn at this point. Be an interesting game. They have more than enough cards to try to recover, but it's just a bunch of stuff like Prophetic Prism that doesn't affect the board. One blocker, Kuldotha Cackler, is not going to be enough. They have to block here, lose the Cackler, take 3 damage, die to Scamp in the future. Sort of forgot I have an Engraver. I probably should have kept a land. Now they are at 1. If they don't kill Scamp, they die. If they have a Hazardous Blast, that would be kind of sad. We lose both these, but then they need to follow it up with another creature or they die to Engraver. So they need to have enough blockers for these two and be able to kill Scamp. They have a lot of cards, so there's a lot of different combinations of cards that could do that. Another Prism is not going to do it though. Doesn't affect the board in any way. And that is going to be game. Our opponent's deck just does not have enough stuff that affects the board against a really aggressive deck like this with a nice, pretty ridiculous opening hand like we had there. So another just classic Phyrexia all will be one kind of game there. We just had the super aggro curve. Opponent couldn't affect the board enough, and we are going to punish them for it. It is going to be 6-1 now. Heading into round 8, which could be the final boss. Here we are in round 8. Our opponent is on the play. We have Justiciar double Batterfist. Feels great. Start with Justiciar, follow up with Batterfists. The hand is already kind of perfectly ordered for what you want. Well, we're on the draw against turn 1 Crawling Chorus, which is a pretty terrible spot to be if they have a decent follow-up. Uh-oh, they're white-black as well. This could be bad. Oh, yeah. That is very bad. On the draw against turn 1 toxic creature, turn 2 toxic creature. Very scary place to be. I actually play Batterfist first because I'd rather trade Batterfist into Skull Dweller than Justiciar. And I really want to block one of their toxic creatures this turn. Try to stay uncorrupted. There's Atraxa's Skitterfang to start throwing things in the sky so we cannot block at all this game. Because if I trade with Chorus, they just get another Might anyway. There's going to be some classic Phyrexia all will be one stuff from the other side of the table this time. We are likely getting poisoned out. That would be a surprising trade that I would be incredibly happy with. We are going to trade into Skitterfang, okay. Go to 5 poison or trade into Skull Dweller. I think we'll go to 5. I get to play 2 blockers next turn. Trade those off. We're already corrupted. The difference between 3 and 5 poison isn't that big. Once I start getting to like 8 poison, that's where I need to block every single damage so I don't just die to Proliferate. Don't need any abilities on Skitterfang here, we'll just send it in for 2. Actually, no, hold off Chorus with it. Is fine. They Justiciar, play Batterfist. Trade a Rebel into the Death Toucher, or into a combat trick. We're pretty okay with every combat trick, except the +2/+1 first strike. That'd be really bad. Okay, well, we have to draw removal now, because that's a first strike Death Toucher. Yeah, that's actually the literal only combat trick that would be a problem. The Death Touch Indestructible would have been fine. +2/+2 draw card would have been fine. Yeah, that's pretty nasty there. Gotta try to outrace the Skull Dweller because I can pretty much never block it anyway. Alright, we kill the Chorus, turn it into a Might. Pass the turn. You know what's kind of a bummer that I'm just now realizing? And it's kind of a bummer even if we win this game. Urabrask has literally never shown up to the party. We haven't gotten to play Urabrask. I mean, if they're cool just holding Skull Dweller off to protect themselves, I think I'm kind of cool to just sit here. Have us each just keep passing turn, because I can only use Skitterfang for 4 damage one more time. I think I just sit here and wait. We've got 2 Volt charges in the deck, which would kill Skull Dweller and get another counter on Skitterfang, so... Yeah, and I don't think I want to put Batterfist anywhere, I just would prefer to have higher toughness right now than power, so... Draw a card past the turn. Ribskiff is not that bad on board. We have a 4/5 to block the 4/4. If they have that and another trick, that would be bad, but by itself, not horrible. Use our Terramorphic Expanse here. Another land out of the deck. And pass the turn. Just draw a card past turn. Kind of just how we roll if we just keep hitting lands. We'll just chill, hang out with our opponent. You know, just sit here and talk about our feelings. How are you doing today, opponent? You have land draw 5? You do have land draw 5. So you are out of your mana screw. We're still hanging out in the flood for now. Guessing Skull Dweller's coming in now from the looks of things. Yep, can't really block that. Just need to draw Planar Disruption or Volt Charge or Rebel Salvo. There's a Basilica Shepherd. Yep. They have reached the top end of their curve, and we're going to start having some major issues if I still don't have gas, and we definitely don't. Last turn. Four cards in hand for them still. We know at least 3 of them are non-land, so they still have plenty of action. Still chilling here with pretty much nothing. Going to our 7th poison against 3 mites. Gonna be dead very soon. Wow, Paladin to bring back the Skitterfang. Yeah, game's pretty much over. Just keep passing the turn, taking our poison until we're dead. I think it's too late to draw into anything at this point. We've just hit nothing for too long. That even if we started hitting gas every single turn, like Skitterfang plus Skull Dweller closes the game out in 3 turns maximum and probably quicker. Oh yeah, Skitterfang just goes into the sky. I'm guaranteed 2 poison counters from that, and then they proliferate and I die. If I quadruple block, I can theoretically kill Skull Dweller. But I lose 3 creatures to do it. And that's if they have no combat tricks. Alright, show me the Proliferate. Close enough. Well, cannot win them all. We are going to be 6-2 heading into round number 9, the final boss, win or lose. Well, this is going to have to be a mulligan to start it off. This is better but not great. We'll drop one of these combat tricks and see what we draw into. Our opponent is on the play again, with turn 1 Crawling Chorus again, and we might have another non-game of magic, unfortunately. Don't want to count my chickens before they hatch, but that is one of the most disastrous starts you can have in the format. Just turn 1 Chorus from your opponent while you're on the draw. Here's an Engraver. Better blocker than we had at the start of last game. That is a good draw to start things off. Opponent is white-black again. Chittering Skitterling. Don't have to worry too much about that until we're corrupted. There's land number 2 drawn for us. Luckily we have the Engraver this time. So this should play out pretty differently. So we play Batterfist, hold up Free from Flesh, and now this time we get to filter through all our extra land draws and try to just draw better than our opponent here. We also have the 1/3 to block their 1/1 toxic creatures. Feels like a much better start against black-white toxic than we had last time. Uh-oh. If they get one way to proliferate, we will be corrupted. Their cards like Skitterling will be active. They could have Whisper of the Dross to kill our 3/1 and proliferate. That would be pretty nasty. Okay, pass turn. Let's use the Engraver then. Discard a card, draw a card. Find another land, draw for turn. Find a Volt Charge. I'm actually going to hold the land for now because I can crescendo and free from flesh without playing a land, so that I can actually send in the rebel and choose what I want to do based on how they block. We're probably on crescendo, yeah, because it wins either of these combats and draws us a card. Barbed Batterfist is the draw, so we'll just go land Batterfist. They'll get their might token, land Batterfist. Pass the turn. They do have 4 mana here, so there's a lot of stuff they could do. They're going to anoint the Engraver so they can go ahead and corrupt us with that might token. Well, it's going to die anyway, so we might as well discard a card, draw a card here. Another land. Still got one out of the way there, even if we found another one after that. I'm actually going to trade my 2/2 down into the might to stay uncorrupted for now. Although Blight Belly Rat will corrupt us when it dies. Another land for us. Free from flesh to kill Skitterling. If they block with Rat, we'll have to free from flesh just to keep this on board. Should I be on Volt Charge the Rat and free from flesh the Skitterling? I guess, like if I Volt Charge the Rat, I guess we're corrupted, but they have no creatures to sack to Skitterling. But then if they play Basilica Shepherd that makes like 2 mites, we're going to fall really far behind. Because they can sacrifice those mites to be drawing cards. I really badly need to kill this Skitterling, but we have no way to specifically kill that. And my options with the rat are kill it and then we're corrupted, or don't kill it and then we're corrupted because it hits us for 1 poison. Yeah, we're just damned if we do, damned if we don't. This is not a great position here. I guess if they block with Skitterling, they get to sack it to itself and draw a card. But then we stop them from doing any Basilica Shepherd nonsense. Gold Warden's Helm. There's a 2/2 they can discard or sacrifice to draw a card. Okay, this means no Basilica Shepherd this turn, so at least they're not immediately popping off with the Skitterling particularly hard. Find another land, but it's a sack land, which is good. We should trade our free from flesh into the token because they're playing around it with Skitterling so much anyway. They get to draw a card off the token. Yeah, Skitterling's really going to take over this game. Because we just, again, have like no action. Indoctrination Attendant is very good here. Pick up the Helm, recast it. That's 2 creatures off that 1 draw. Actually 3 creatures because the might they can sack to Skitterling, which is very valuable as well. There's Disruption for Skitterling, but that feels too little too late. Furnace Strider? Starting to draw some stuff. Kind of have to disrupt Skitterling here. They get 1 final card draw off it, just make it sack itself. Sack the Helm. They must have main deck enchantment removal or another attendant to pick up Skitterling. That would be pretty disgusting. Down to 11, up to 5 poison. Crawling Chorus is the play. Sawblade Scamp is okay. We play Strider Scamp here. have to be on blocks, I think. Actually, probably should have went Batter Fist on the 2-2 last turn. Stop some damage there. Annihilating Glare. Very good against Planar Disruption. Down to 7 life and 7 poison. There's Soulfeme. But I'm pretty sure Soulfeme is a little bit too late. Big enough to block Attendant. We'll see. Rough way to end this draft. I think this is the best deck we've drafted in our quick drafts. This is a pretty wild, pretty swingy format, and being on the draw against the Toxic deck twice in a row and just running low on gas each time is going to be a pretty devastating way to end it. Yeah, I think these were winnable matchups if we were on the play or we just hit a little more gas a little earlier. Not much you can do about that though. I think we did what we could today, and 6-3 is still a super respectable run.
That's just a start.
Just sad to see this deck do worse than the first 3 quick draft decks that I think were all a little bit weaker than it. But that's Magic, baby. There is variance involved. I think we got a 7-0 in a quick draft with a worse deck than this. And I've had 0-3s with better decks than this. It definitely happens. So 6-3, not bad at all. Cannot be unhappy with that. We are leaving the event with more gems than it costs to play in it. It's $750 to enter the event. We're getting 850 gems when we leave it. Really feel like this deck could have gotten a 7-win run, but the draws were just not there in the end, unfortunately. Overall, yet again, pretty much everything the deck did its job, did some great stuff. We literally never drew Urabrask, so I guess Urabrask didn't do his job. Maybe that's why the bot passed it. The card just actually doesn't exist. It's a phantom card, phantom magic card. False. Just scroll that all the way to the right. This is the deck we were playing today. We did do some really disgusting things with Soulfeme in a few of those games with the Sawblade Scamps and Volt Charges, which was nice. The Furnace Strider at the top end was fine. The Volt Charges were great. Disruption was great. Decent removal. Great curve with the triple Batter Fist and the Justiciar. Overall, I think this was a pretty great deck. And 6-3, super solid run. In the end, we got married to Urabrask and he left us on the altar, which is a little sad. Well, we'll grab our prizes and move on to the next draft, to the next day of Magic. That is going to end today's video. If you enjoyed this video and you'd like to see more, just stick around on the channel. You can catch me live at the Twitch channel in the link in the description below, and if you want to support the channel directly, you can check out the Patreon link in the description below. Other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.